History is often shaped by monumental events: the assassination of an archduke, the storming of a beach, the dropping of a bomb. But sometimes, history is shaped by a hungry farm animal. The year is 1859. The place is San Juan Island, a small, heavily forested piece of land sitting right between the United States territory of Washington and the British colony of Vancouver Island. Because of a vaguely worded treaty signed 13 years earlier, both the United States and the British Empire claim they own this island. But for the most part, the American farmers and the British Hudson's Bay Company employees living there get along just fine. Until June 15th. Lyman Cutler, an American farmer, walks out to his garden. For days he has been battling a rogue, massive black pig that keeps rooting up his prized potato patch. Cutler is at his wit's end. He looks out, and there it is. The pig is back, happily eating his tubers. Cutler raises his rifle, he takes aim and fires. The pig drops dead, and the countdown to war between two global superpowers begins. It turns out, the dead pig belonged to Charles Griffin, an Irishman managing the sheep ranch for the British Hudson's Bay Company. Griffin is furious. He confronts Cutler. Cutler, realizing his mistake, offers to pay Griffin $10 for the dead animal. But Griffin scoffs. $10? For a prize-breeding pig? No. Griffin demands $100, an exorbitant sum in 1859. Cutler refuses. He argues the pig was trespassing. Griffin counters that Cutler shouldn't have built a potato patch on British soil. The argument escalates. British authorities threaten to arrest the American farmer and him to Victoria for trial. The American settlers on the island panic. They quickly draft a petition, demanding United States military protection from the British. The petition lands on the desk of the commander of the Department of Oregon. He decides a strong show of force is necessary. He dispatches a company of the 9th U.S. Infantry to San Juan Island. Commanding that infantry is a young, aggressive officer named Captain George Pickett, the very same man who would later lead the infamous Pickett's Charge at Gettysburg. Captain Pickett lands on San Juan Island with 66 heavily armed American soldiers. He immediately declares the island U.S. territory and sets up camp directly opposite the British forces. The British governor in Victoria, James Douglas, is absolutely livid. He views the American landing as an illegal invasion of sovereign British soil. Douglas immediately orders the Royal Navy to respond. He sends 3 massive British warships, bristling with cannons, under the command of Captain Geoffrey Hornby, to anchor just offshore. The escalation is staggering. Within weeks, the Americans reinforce their position. They now have 461 soldiers and 14 cannons dug in the high ground. Facing them in the harbor are 5 heavily armed British warships, carrying over 2,000 men and 70 heavy naval guns, thousands of troops, massive arsenals of artillery. 2 of the most powerful militaries on Earth, all staring each other down, all waiting for the other side to make a move, all over a single dead pig in a potato patch. The tension on San Juan Island is suffocating. A single nervous soldier pulling a trigger will start a massive war between the United States and Great Britain. The British governor gives a direct order to Captain Hornby: land your Royal Marines. Dislodge the Americans. But Captain Hornby hesitates. He looks at the American cannons on the hill. He looks at his own massive warships. He realizes the sheer scale of the slaughter that is about to unfold. Hornby refuses the governor's order, stating he will not engage unless the Americans fire first. On the other side, Captain Pickett issues strict orders to his men. Do not shoot. Let them fire the first volley. For days, the two forces just watch each other. They drill their troops. They clean their weapons. They hurl insults across the beach, but nobody fires. Back in London and Washington, D.C., communication is painfully slow. It takes 6 weeks for the news to finally reach the east coast of America and the halls of the British Parliament. When the leaders of both nations finally hear what is happening, they are absolutely horrified. 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock. The Resolution British Admiral Robert Baines arrives on the scene, appalled by the situation. When urged to attack, Baines flatly refuses, famously stating that it would be absolute madness to involve 2 great nations in a war over a squabble about a pig. In Washington, President James Buchanan urgently dispatches General Winfield Scott to the Pacific Northwest to de-escalate the crisis. Scott arrives and immediately begins negotiations. The absurdity of the situation is clear to everyone in charge. They quickly agree to a joint military occupation. The massive armies and warships are sent home. The Americans agree to keep a small token force of 100 men on the south end of the island. The British keep 100 men on the north end. For the next 12 years, this peaceful joint occupation continues. The soldiers from both sides actually become quite friendly, frequently visiting each other's camps to share rations, drink, and celebrate holidays together. In 1872, the border dispute is finally settled by an international arbitrator, the German Emperor, who awards the island to the United States. The Pig War officially ends, a conflict where massive armies mobilized, warships threatened the coast, and two great empires stood on the brink of total destruction. Total casualties? 0. Except, of course, for the pig.